Hello children, hope you all are good and fine. So welcome back to your English class. See children, today we'll do chapter 13 of your literature book, that is King Bruce and the Spider. Now children, I have explained this poem in two parts, okay? And I will send you the videos and I want all of you to go through it properly, okay? Hello children, hope you all are good and fine. So today we'll do chapter 13 of your literature book, that is King Bruce and the Spider. Children, let us know something about the author first. Eliza Cook is the poetess of this poem. So Eliza Cook was an English author. Her poems, The Old Armchair and The Fair Rose of Killarney, are very popular. Her first collection of poems was published when she was only 23 years old. Now children, this poem, King Bruce and the Spider, is about the King Robert of Scotland. Okay. King Bruce was very sad because he had been fighting for freedom for his country, but he had not succeeded. He gave up and sat down sadly. Just then he saw a spider. The spider was trying to crawl up to its web. Web means its home, but kept falling back down. Though Bruce thought the spider would give up at some point, but it did not. This taught Bruce not to give up, so he decided to try again, and this time he succeeded. Now children, let's see the stanza-wise explanation. King Bruce of Scotland flung himself down in a lonely mood to think. 'Tis true he was a monarch and wore a crown, but his heart was beginning to sink. The children, in this poem, the poetess explains that one should not lose his heart if he fails in his struggle, okay, till success. In these lines, the poetess tells that King Robert Bruce of Scotland had been defeated in the battlefield, flung down himself on couch in despair, so he was very sad. In the second stanza, for he had been trying to do a great deed to make his people glad. He had tried and tried but could not succeed, so he became quite sad. In these lines, poetess tells that King Robert Bruce had been trying to gain freedom for his country. He had fought many battles, but he was defeated. He had been doing his best to make his people happy. Due to continuous failures, he was disappointed. Now in stanza 3, he flung himself in a low despair, as grieved as man could be, and after a while, as he pondered there, I will give it all up, said he. In these lines, the poetess tells that King Robert Bruce threw himself down on couch in disappointment. He was stricken with grief, means he was very sad. He thought over again and again and decided at last to give up the struggle. The fourth stanza. Now, just at the moment a spider dropped with its silken cobweb clue, and the king in the midst of his thinking stopped to see what the spider would do. Now, in these lines, the poetess tells just at the moment when King Bruce was thinking to give up struggles, a spider fell down with his fine thread cobweb from the roof. The king stopped thinking and began to watch the movements of the spider. In the fifth stanza, it soon began to cling and crawl straight up with strong endeavor, but down it came with slippery sprawl as near to the ground as ever. Now in these lines, poetess tells that spider once took hold of cobweb thread and began to climb up with difficulty. And it made an effort to go right up to the roof, but it slipped and fell down on the earth as close to the ground as before its climb. Okay. In the sixth stanza, its head grew steady. Again it went and travelled a half-yard higher. 'Twas a delicate path it had to tread, and a road where its feet would tire. Now, in these lines, the poetess tells that the spider recovered its senses and climbed half a yard higher than before. The thread, however, was very delicate. Delicate means it's very fine, okay, very thin, and there was a constant danger of its breaking down. Therefore, it was difficult and tiresome for the spider to climb.